Thank you for joining us for this episode of US Law Live. This podcast is brought to you by US Law's official corporate partners, SEA Limited, American Legal Records, Arcadia Settlements Group, Immersion Legal, Marshall Investigative Group, and MDD Forensic Accountants. We very much appreciate your support and partnership.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of the US Law Live podcast. Today we have a great guest in Dave Elmore of MDD, one of US Law's corporate sponsors. Big thanks to them, corporate partners. Big thanks to them. I am here with Mike Judy, and as a reminder, I'm Pam Halford from the Carr Allison Law Firm in Alabama. I'm physically located in Dothan, Alabama. No one knows where that is, but I say it every time. And I've got Mike Judy here with me, who is sitting in Kansas City.
Yes, on the Missouri side of Kansas City with the Dysart Taylor Law Firm. Thanks for that wonderful introduction, Pam. And Dave, great to have you on the podcast today. How have you
Yeah,
been?
thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
good. Well, I guess start off with telling us a little bit about MDD, your role with the company, and everything in the world of forensic accounting.
Wow. Okay. Well, hopefully your listeners are not listening to this at the end of their day because I don't want to bore anybody to sleep here. But so again, thank you all for having me be a part of this podcast. I've been looking forward to it, and I appreciate the time to give a little bit of sense of who we are. So I'm Dave Elmore. I'm a senior partner with MDD, and I reside in Reston, Virginia. I'm actually just outside of DC, the apparent tariff capital of the world. So got that going. But I'm in Northern Virginia. I started my career in Charlotte, North Carolina, in 93. So I am just beyond. In fact, interesting fun fact, today is my 32nd anniversary with the firm. So
Congratulations.
thank you.
I thought you were going to say it was your birthday, and I was going to say, good God, you must have something better to do than be here with Mike and I.
That is in 2 weeks, as it turns out. So, but no, I
Okay.
32 years with the firm today, interestingly. So, I started in Charlotte, North Carolina, and worked my way up to Northern Virginia here, back in '99 to open the office, and we've been here since. MDD is a forensic accounting firm that specializes in what we call economic damage quantification. It's a specialty that speaks to lost finances, right? Lost profits, any kind of increased cost, margin depreciation, erosion, things of that nature, resulting from an event. An event could be a first party commercial property insurance claim in a business interruption context, to a third party insurance claim in a liability space. And then obviously in the litigation proceedings that we work with you all for in terms of expert testimony, whether it's actually in court, be it federal, state, or in some other alternative dispute resolution process, right, through arbitration or appraisal or different things of that nature. So everything that we do speaks to the economic impact that a company had as a result, as I said, of an event. And that's all we do. We are CPAs. I am an accountant, CPA, but I don't do stereotypical type accounting stuff, right? I don't do taxes or audits or bookkeeping and things of that nature. It's all in this economic space. And so that's how we came to be with US Law. Because of our work in the litigation support arena, US Law was a perfect connection for us, and we are now 12 years strong with that relationship. So it's been very good, and it's something that I have responsibility for in terms of the relationship between our firm and US Law, and the people and the group itself and the different practice area. I can't speak enough about the relationship. So it's been a very good partnership.
Now, you mentioned something there, Dave, that interests me because it doesn't interest me, and that would be generalized accounting, taxes, etc.
Right.
Were you ever in that space, or have you been doing this forensic work for pretty well your whole career?
No, I was never in that space at all. This is all I've ever done. I actually, my first job out of college was as an internal auditor. Um, and that was awful. Um, but I will say though, as awful as the job was, they did send me, and hold your hat for this. They sent me to a conference. It was the Institute of Internal Auditors, Tools and Techniques for the Beginning Auditor, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 conference. I thought that was going to be the worst week of my life. So I was obviously dragging my feet on Monday morning going to the conference, and I walked in 20 minutes late. And the only seat in the entire space that was left open was next to who turned out to be my wife. So that
Silver linings.
ultimately was the best part of everything in terms of that job or that conference. So that's how we met.
So I take it she has a boring career as well.
Not anymore. She did then. She's been a stay-at-home mom for what is now 28 years strong, since our oldest daughter was born. So, but that's how we met, and it was one of those. Just a side topic on that. A funny story. This was back in 1993, so well before any kind of significant kind of PowerPoint stuff, right, that you would see at a typical conference. So we had a 3-ring binder. I walk in, it's sitting on my desk, sitting in my space. And I'm looking to the people left and right, trying to figure out where we are in terms of the page, because everybody has their books open already. Well, she reaches over without saying a word, and opens my binder to the page that we're on. And so since then, I've joked about how the first thing she ever did for me was to make sure I was on the right page, and she's been doing that ever since.
I love it. How many kids do y'all have?
We have 3 and a granddaughter, actually, a new 12-week-old granddaughter. So she's
Oh my
Congratu-
goodness.
new on the team.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And is your granddaughter local so you can spoil her every day?
Unfortunately, no. We're in Virginia, they're in Oregon. So they are as far away as they can be. Hopefully not by choice, but that's just the way it worked out.
Well, you'll just have to build up those frequent flyer miles.
She's 12 weeks old, and I think we've seen her at least half of those already.
I
So
love it.
I don't think we can keep that up, but we're going to try our best.
Good. Now, for those folks who may be looking for forensic accountants and want to partner with MDD, I'm certain you guys have offices and the capability of working all over the country.
We're all over the world, actually.
Oh,
We
okay.
have We have 50 plus offices, 47 plus partners. Sorry, reverse that. We have 50 plus offices, 47 plus partners throughout the globe. Frankly, we've got 23 in the U.S., New York to L.A., 9 plus in Canada, Latin America, uh, Asia, Singapore, Hong Kong, Tokyo, Australia. So we're a global concern. We've got offices everywhere, all major cities, if you will, certainly throughout the U.S. I have a North American responsibility from a business development standpoint, so I'm all over, and working with folks like yourselves and making sure that we get you connected with not just the right geography, but the right person, right? The right expert, the right knowledge base. We have 350 plus professionals. All of our partners have testified. Most of our managers have testified and have that experience. So, if the need is there, we more likely than not have the experience, most importantly, and also the people in the places that you need it.
Now, are you doing any of the testifying work, Dave, or are you just a kind of business development role these days?
No, I do both. I still have responsibilities in both. I've got a full caseload. I'm sitting in my office right now and here in Reston, and have staff and work files, continue to testify personally as needed. Admittedly, I have brought on this new role this new business development role, and it specifically as a result of what we haven't really talked about yet, our acquisition. We have just gotten recently acquired by a much larger insurance services firm based in the UK called Davies Group. So we are actually wholly owned now by that group. And since that merger, not even merger, acquisition, almost this time last year, a little over February of last year, is when I taken on this more direct business development role. But it was kind of added on to what already was kind of a full plate. But that's okay.
It sounds like it. I was going to ask when you have time to sleep, but I think I know the answer.
On the plane back and forth to Oregon.
That's right. Exactly. Exactly. Well, how has it been since the acquisition?
It's been great. It's been a great partnership, relationship, however you want to call it, kind of, parent-child type scenario now. The Davies is a company that has grown through that process, through that acquisition process over the years, and they've developed a number of different types of organizations, types of companies, all in the kind of financial insurance regulatory space, right? They have a UK operation, which still is obviously in the UK and Ireland. Specifically, they have what they refer to as Davies North America, and then Davies Global Solutions, and those are the three pillars, if you will, that are within that organization, within that group, and we fit within the Davies Global Solutions space. And it's the cross sale opportunities that we now have through the various entities that Davies has brought on board is staggering, and they have underwriting, TPA, independent adjusting outfits. They've got technology capabilities that we never had ourselves, right? So we're actually in the process now of developing a tool that is really going to, I think, revolutionize some of the smaller claims that are out there to assist adjusters from an economic perspective. That we really needed from a technological standpoint to have that capability that we just didn't have. We had the accounting skill, the financial skill set, but not the technical skill from an IT standpoint to get that out to the public, and that's what we're doing with them now. So there's been a lot of exciting things that we've been able to do just in the first year.
Wow. Well, it sounds like you've got a lot on your plate with the acquisition and the things that you do with the forensic accounting and the new grandbaby. But outside of all of that on your plate, I mean, what keeps you up at night in the forensic accounting space, or what is it the forefront that's keeping you busy on a daily basis?
The first thing that always comes to my mind when people talk about that is cyber threat. I think that should, if it doesn't, it should keep all of us up to a degree. And how unbelievably quick things can change, and that threat, if you will, seep its way into your organization. The one wrong click on a website can cause major problems, and the cyber insurance market, if you will, the coverage associated with that market is growing exponentially. It's something that will probably overtake the property market in the coming years, just in terms of premiums written, because it's so widespread, and every organization that's out there has now a website. They've got social media, they've got emails and phones and all the different things that connect people that are so great for us to help us from a communication perspective and do our jobs so much more efficiently than we ever used to. But with that has come this new threat that has really permeated all industries. And I talk about cyber hygiene and just the need to be diligent with your employees, and I can try to control what I do online, whether it's opening a link that's sent to me randomly via email that from somebody that I didn't know, and that messes things up, I can control that, but how do I control everybody else? And just the education on that, and really just trying to instill the importance of that to our employees, your employees, is hugely important. Because all it takes is one bad click on one bad attachment to really mess up a lot.
And what are some of those best practices? I mean, obviously, and you hit on it a little bit, you can tell your employees, be careful what you click on, don't click on that. If you don't recognize the email address, don't open it. But we all have employees that you get hundreds of emails a day, and well, it could be from a client, it could be from the court. We don't always know who's sending us stuff. I mean, talk a little bit about your advice, your strategy for what we can tell our employees on what not to click on. What should we be looking out for? What should we be aware of?
Yeah, it's hard. You just mentioned, Mike, that you get hundreds of emails a day, and sometimes you don't know who they come from. They may be absolutely legitimate, but I think it's just important for us to take a second and make certain that what we're clicking on, what we're responding to, what email we're getting, we are getting from a legitimate source, right? Even we might not know who it's from, but let's, instead of the quick, get it out of your inbox and on to somebody else or responded to, take a minute, right, or take a beat to confirm that this is legitimate. Whether it's the email, is it coming from MDD, but you look at the email, my email address is mdd.com, very simple. But if you look at an email address that somebody has taken and kind of trying to take over our system, if you will, and that email comes to you from D. Elmore at MDB, hypothetically, right? It looks very similar, and at quick glance, you might never see it, but it is different, and that's not the same email. It's not the same person. So taking that second, just being a little bit more diligent, maybe, and confirming what you're getting is from who you think you're getting it from. And we actually internally do a bit of training, kind of a phishing exercise to our staff. We'll send them. I think a lot of industries do. A lot of companies do this now. You guys probably do the same thing, where we'll send dummy emails out, internally from our group, internally, our IT group, send them to people and see what they do with it. And it's
I'm
almost like
sure that's terrifying.
yeah, well, it can be if it's almost like a two strike, not a three strike. It's like a two strike. I don't even know. I think we do a two strike where you do it once, you get a warning. You do it a second time, you got to go to a training. It's like the penalty. You get put in the penalty box, and you got to look at a training
Right.
video for a half hour or whatever. So we'll
Right.
do things like that just to kind of keep the diligence high, right? I mean, that's the key of it.
I feel personally attacked by this conversation. I'm also very thankful that Carr Allison does not do these dummy emails because I fall prey to get it out of my inbox immediately.
I,
So
I
we
mean,
all
yours is probably all from online shopping, though, Pam.
no, that's a different email, Mike. Are you kidding me? Not a novice, for God's sake. Dave, are you in light of like cybersecurity threats and things along those lines? I've been asking a bunch of people lately because I'm real into the idea of it, also scared to death of it. Are you using AI professionally at all?
I mentioned earlier about the work that we're doing with Davies, their technical service offering, and trying to incorporate this tool that hopefully insurers will find useful in terms of some of the smaller middle-sized claims. Yes, that is going to incorporate a level of AI to it.
Okay.
I think it has to. I think there has
Yeah.
to be a learning element associated with that program. If it stays the way it is today, next year, it's going to be outdated, and then we're continually going to have to update it. So we're trying to incorporate a mechanism to keep it fresh and to keep it learning and to keep it, real time, consistent, whatever. So to that degree, yeah, we are. It hasn't gotten into any of our report writing or anything of that nature, thankfully. And I don't think we're not going to let it do that. And I'm not going to have somebody, have a chat GPT, whatever response to a report. But I think to a degree it's useful. To a degree, it's exceedingly scary. So it's I don't want to sound like that, the old guy on the phone here, which I clearly am. But I don't, these kids today, I'm not trying to say that, but it's also one of those things where years ago, when technology that we now use on a daily basis and don't think anything of it, um, came to us, we all questioned it. How
Yeah.
is this going to be beneficial? How is this going to hurt us? What do we have to be concerned about? And I think we're a bit of in the forefront of that now. Um, I think 10 years from now, it's going to be old hat. It's going to be part of all of our lives. And we just are going to say, how in the world do we ever do our business, do our work without it? But bridging that gap and dealing with that change is something that nobody ever likes to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have folks that are coming to you for your expert services who already have something in mind because they've done some work with AI?
Uh, yeah, I think it's funny. People sometimes come to me with what they already think they know that they want me to do, and they tell me what they want me to do, and then because they've learned it through some
Yeah.
Google search or something, and then when the rubber meets the road and we actually do the work and we realize, or they realize that that's not what they wanted, and it's up to us to help them understand what they need, right? And what they want. So yeah, sometimes folks come to us with this already pre-planned idea of what we're going to give them, and sometimes doesn't really fit.
I'm seeing it more and more in my practice where I'll have insurance adjusters contact me and they already have an idea of sort of issues related to medicals with a claimant or plaintiff. And they have put together a very robust defense using AI. And it's, I mean, I can't recreate the AI, you know what I mean? So
Right.
it's, I think, a helpful tool, but I don't know how we're getting from A to Z, and
Yeah.
that is difficult for me.
Yeah.
Uh, so I always joke about how Alabama is slow, so maybe I'm just late to the game. So I keep asking people the question because I'm waiting for somebody to tell me, "Oh my gosh, Pam, I use it. I love it. It's so fantastic. Here's all the ways."
Yeah.
Um, and right now, I've only had one um, present it in that way.
Yeah.
So we shall see.
I think if anybody's telling you they figured out AI, they're lying to you.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Uh,
It's as I said, it's scary, but at the same time, like I said earlier, I think 10 years time or however long, 5 years time, whatever it is, we're going to find some major benefit in it from an
yeah,
efficiency, time saving. I think there's always going to be a need for the human touch. There's always going to be the need to make sure that we're responsive and that we're dealing with things in a very real way. And it's not just completely automated, but it's certainly right. I mean, from a brief perspective, right? I mean, something you could, as Pam just described, the defense coming in very robust. Maybe that's helps you get beyond that first 10 days of your file.
yeah.
And you still have to tweak it. You still have to put your human touch on it, but maybe it helps from a timing efficiency perspective. I don't know. I still think it's so new, as Mikey just said. Anybody who says that they know it is probably lying to you, or just flat wrong. Um, but at some point, I think there's going to be some benefit in it. It's just a matter of trying to really hone it together and make sure that we don't let it get out of control, which I think is the fear.
Yeah. So we have now come to Mike's favorite portion of our podcast, and this is the truly random questions by Mike Judy section.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, you ruined my transition. I mean, what I was going to say, you've scared us with the AI and cyber, and so now we're going to go lighthearted. And in addition to selling, I also heard you like to sail. You see what I did there?
Yeah, I saw that.
Aha!
I mean, I loved it.
That was good.
Um, Yeah. So you are a sailor. I heard you own your own boat. It's something that you like to do in your limited free time. But is that something you've always done? I mean, did you get into that to a young age, or is it something you got into later in life?
It was my COVID hobby, quite frankly.
Okay.
I have always loved the water. I just have always gravitated to the water. Lake, river, ocean, intercoastal beach, whatever it is. I just have always gravitated to the water. Um, I always loved boating, and just being on the water. And sailing, I always had kind of this odd romanticism associated with it, right? I always kind of felt like this thing that's out there that I would love to be a part of. I don't know really why. And so when COVID hit, and I live in outside DC and with the Chesapeake right here in Annapolis, which is one of the big sailing hubs of the world, um, I had the time, and so I went and I started taking some lessons and got some certifications and yeah, learned how to sail. And I love it. I absolutely love it. I love it as much as probably more than I ever thought that I would. There's something romantic, as I said, about, you motor away from the marina and you get out in the open water a little bit and hoist your sails and turn off your engine and now and you're still moving. You understand the points of sail and how it works and you're still moving and but all you hear is the flap of the sail with the wind and the waves kind of clapping against the hull and
And are
it's
you gone for hours at a time, days at a
it's awesome.
time, combination?
No, hours at a time. I have not yet done an overnight, destination type sail. That's something that time wise just hasn't afforded me the ability to do. But man, you get out there and it's just quiet, and to me, I'm a very analytical type person, at least the way I think through things. And sailing is a very analytical way of boating, if you will, right? Versus hitting the gas and steering, which anybody can do. And there's something to that too that I love. And again, I just like to be on the water. But sailing is very technical, where the wind is coming from, tacking, back into the wind, how does it work from a physics perspective that you can sail into the wind? That doesn't make any sense to most people, right? But when you think of the physics behind it and how that works from a point of sale perspective, it can be done. And I just think there's, like I said, there's an analytical element to it that I just really like.
Did your wife get into it with you too?
Nope, nope.
Okay, so this is a solo hobby, huh?
Solo hobby. She likes to go. She likes to go along. And I try to teach her, but I don't know if you have ever tried to learn or teach your spouse anything, it doesn't really work out.
I
Um,
did, and now I'm divorced.
Yeah, my wife and I like to golf together, and anytime that we try to give each other little pointers on the golf course, it does not go well.
yeah, well, it's we try. And
Well, as
beyond
long as
sailing,
she gets out there with you, Dave, that's all you need,
yeah,
right?
exactly. I think that's we have a ball with it. I mean, she enjoys being out there. She enjoys being on the water. She's from Florida, so she's a sun kind of growing up the sun worshiper kind of person from years back. Baby oil on the beach back in the 80s, the whole thing. And um, yeah, she loves it. She just doesn't like if I were to go overboard, I'm not sure she'd be able to come back and get me.
Well, then just be careful out there.
It's fun. It's truly, like I said, it's something that just relaxing. You know, it's I keep using the word romantic, but I just think that fits. There's a romantic element to it for me.
The other question I like to ask everybody, what are you listening to? What are you watching or what are you reading?
Hmm. Hmm.
Trashy TV show, podcast,
Hmm.
book.
I wish I had a better answer for this, more intellectual answer for this, but I just don't. I'm a Yellowstone, Taylor Sheridan kind of fan right now. all the stuff that he's done so far. We've watched Yellowstone, 1883, 1923, you name it. We've
Yeah.
watched it. I like that. I like the Joe Rogan podcast, which apparently half the rest of the world likes too. Just based on his view or whatever, his podcast followers, whatever. Depends on who he has, I guess, put it that way, first of all. But I listen to that. And books, this is going to be so nerdy, but I like finance books. I like books on personal finance. I like them. I like books on money management, market strategies, you know, uh, personal financial planning type stuff. I do a little bit of that just on my own, not by any stretch professionally or for any kind of money making venture. It's just for helping people, do some tax advice here and there just because I know it a little bit. So stuff like that, I read, but getting
Have
back to that,
have you
sleep on the
watched
plane.
right. On the Taylor Sheridan, did you watch the Billy Bob Thornton, the Landman?
Haven't gotten that one yet.
It's very good.
Is it?
Very
Yeah,
good.
I've
Yeah.
heard that that's the good, that's the next one on the docket.
Yeah. I think of all of them, it's not quite as good as Yellowstone, but it's up there.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Billy Bob Thornton I like him. So
Yeah.
it's definitely going to be watched. Just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Um, Dave, can you tell us what is your most memorable US law event you have been to?
Oh, wow. Gosh, that's a hard one. I mean, U.S. law I've said this from day one, that the events that Roger and his team put together, the places that they send us are second to none. So it's hard to compare one to the other. As much as I have sat here and talked about how much I love the water and the beach, I think one of my favorite locations has been the Broadmoor in Colorado Springs. Um, I had the privilege to meet Charles Carr. If
Roll Tide, baby.
Yep, yep. Had the privilege to meet him for the first time on the Broadmoor golf course at a U.S. law event. He and I got paired up and we played. And I've been an avid golfer for almost my whole life. And he and I played and had an absolute ball together. Had a great conversation. He's a good
Great.
golfer. I can hold my own. And golf is a sport where you I've always in the U.S. law events, I've always signed up for the golf, like the afternoon activity. If golf is available, that's typically what I'll sign up for. And I guess there's a pro con to that. The con of it is you don't get that broad reach to people, that you would
Mhm.
see in a big group. But the pro to it to me is you might only play with three others, but man, you're going to get to know those three people.
Yeah.
And there's so much in golf that you can learn, and there's so much life lesson in golf that you can immediately see how people react to stuff. And so Charles and I connected immediately. And like I said, had the privilege of meeting him on the golf course and at the Broadmoor in Colorado Springs. So that's probably the most memorable.
Well, I love that.
And
Mike, do you have a favorite?
my favorite, I mean, I really was I don't know if it was my favorite event, but I think just from a visual perspective, was it the one outside of Atlanta, and I'm blanking on the name of the
That's the
space, but it was the Willy
got
Wonka with all of the
got so long.
candy. Yes,
Yep,
yes.
yep.
And the champagne and things coming out from behind the vine walls and all of the performers and all of that. That was my most memorable
Yeah.
from terms of a visual standpoint.
That was a cool event because U.S. Law
Yeah.
took over the entire hotel, the entire
Yeah.
resort. So
Yeah.
Yep.
if somebody was there, they were U.S. Law. We had the whole thing.
Yep. Close with, what is your favorite course you've ever played?
I've been very fortunate, blessed to have been able to travel and play a lot of different courses. I've played Pebble Beach. I've played St. Andrews. I've played the old course at St. Andrews. I played uh, Whistling Straits in Kohler, Wisconsin. Um, Medina in Chicago. There's been so many, but I think my favorite place to play golf is Bandon Dunes in Oregon. It's got nothing to do with the fact that it's near my granddaughter, my daughter, her family, but it's just a cool place. It's only golf. There's nothing else. It's a pure golf destination. It's 2 hours from anywhere. It's right on the coast. It's every hole is on the coast. It's almost like you have this visual. Pebble Beach, for example, is a great play. It's Pebble. How can you not enjoy playing there and love it? But there's only a handful of holes that are actually you can see the water. They're on the water. Now those that are great, obviously, but there are several that are more inland and kind of through the hills and so forth. But Bandon, you've got 6 courses. Many of them are just right on the water. It's just an awesome place to play. I really do like it.
Great.
Well,
Well, go ahead, Pam.
I mean, go ahead, Mike. You're always trying to
No,
steal my thunder.
I was going to give you the last word. I was just going to say,
Oh,
Dave, you've been very generous with your time, and we've really appreciated to get to know you more today, and look forward to you meeting everybody soon. And
Yeah.
Pam, I'll
Well,
give you the last word.
well, I'm gonna yield my time to our guest. Dave, thanks for being with us today. Now close us out.
yeah, well, I just again will thank you guys for letting me do this. I was tickled when Roger reached out and asked me to be a part of it. And I just really have enjoyed the time with you all. I know you all from previous events, but um, this has been great. I really enjoyed it. I think as I said earlier, and I'll say it again because it's real, the relationship that we have with US Law has been a great partnership. It's 12 years strong, and I have no doubt it's going to continue forward. And not just the professional relationships, but what have turned out to be real friendships that have come out of that organization. They're second to none.
Well, thanks for joining us on another episode of US Law Live. See you next time.
Thank you for listening to US Law Live. Stay tuned for more great conversations on US Law Live. To learn more about US Law Network, visit uslaw.org. Thank you.